Continuing our discussion on wheat and drought, OSU Extension Soil Nutrient Management Specialist Dr. Brian Arnall has some tips for us this week on fertilizing when it's this dry.
All right, we're rolling into the first part of October, and typically by this point in time, we have a lot of wheat seed in the ground, and our grain-only producers are also really chomping at the bit to start dropping seed. But of course, we're in Oklahoma. We're in the state of haves and haves not as far as it comes to soil moisture, and so we've got to look at where we're setting at on soil moisture as far as our fertility plans going out. You know, really, we're in a late season when it comes to our graze out. Typically, I'd like to have that seed in the ground by now and the plant's up and running. And so we have a lot of graze out and dual purpose acres that are either sitting dusted in or ready to be planted. And so at this point, we got to think maybe that heavy fertility doesn't need to happen when it comes into this time of the year. Let's just get the seed up if we're seeing what happens. And if it stays dry, we probably need to start thinking about transition to a spring oat. And so if we have to transition to spring oats, we've got to set back and recalculate what we did for nitrogen and say that, okay, if we've got our nitrogen down for our fall wheat, but you know, it didn't rain, so we didn't end up planting. If it stays dry, that nitrogen is going to be there for the spring oats. If we haven't fertilized yet, well then just hold off and let's wait until we get time to start planting the spring oats. For our own grain-only guys, I want to go back to all the data I have. We've got lots of years of data that suggests that we don't need a lot of pre-plant when it comes to our grain-only wheat. Our grain-only wheat, if we just get the phosphorus, potassium that we need into that system and a touch of nitrogen, it's going to be good through the winter. In fact, it's okay if it's a little stressed in the winter because it's going to make that crop root a little bit deeper and explore deeper depths. So grain-only producers, let's hold off on that nitrogen. I know that it's cheap right now. If you have a really cheap source, then I understand going with the cheaper source. But that time in and time out, if that price mark is not great between anhydrous and maybe urea or UAN, it's usually better off holding your application into that spring, whether it's a January, February, or February, March application. You know, this is Oklahoma. This is our first dry fall. We're going to have still a great opportunity to make a good crop. Let's just make smart decisions when it comes to the economics and the application of what we're doing. For more information about how to manage nitrogen in the wheat system, even in our dry falls, go to the SUNUP website.